All right. Next up, we're going to talk about this one a little differently. The Russian interference. Okay. So we got Russian interference again, allegedly. I'm not going to cover it the same way these other guys have. And in fact, everyone's covering it. From good buddy Sean at Third Relify, of course, the quartering, even Tim Pool spoke up, and I mentioned him specifically because of the story and where it went. But I want to cover it a little bit differently, if that makes sense. So I'll go ahead and pull up the article here that I've got. This is from NBC News. It says Biden administration hits Russia with sanctions over efforts to manipulate U.S. opinion ahead of the election. The administration announced a series of actions Wednesday in response to alleged efforts by Russian actors to influence U.S. public opinion. And so it goes on to basically talk about Russia Today, right there. Boop. And I don't remember if this particular article talked about it or not. But basically it talked to some of the networks that they work with, and whatnot. One of them being Tenet Media. Now, I mentioned Tim Pool earlier. Tim Pool has something to do with Tenet Media to a degree, some kind of relationship there. It's more of Lauren Chin, if you guys know who that is. Lauren Chin and her husband, I think, are the bigger to-dos there. Benny Johnson's kind of involved with Tenet Media. But apparently there's some ties between Russia Today, Tenet Media, Russian actors putting out things. I don't know the whole depths of it. So again, I'm not going to cover that part of it because I think more of that's being revealed over time. So I don't have all the facts. I don't have everything pulled together on that one. And there's plenty of other people that are covering it. So I do recommend, if you want to hear it out of Tim Pool's mouth, himself, he covers it. He talks about it. Of course, Sean from Third Relify, like I said, who I trust anything that he says because he does his homework too. He's a sharp guy. I love him to death. So Sean, Third Relify, of course, his links to his channels will be in the show notes below. He's been mentioned multiple times, so of course I got him linked down there. But yeah, whether it's Sean, whether it's Tim himself, whether it's the quartering, Jeremy over there, if you're interested in finding out more about that story, go check it out. The part that I want to cover, or want to just briefly kind of point out, is that we are all about, and I say we, our government, our Department of Justice, the Biden administration, or whatever. And this goes beyond the Biden administration. I think this is just, I don't know whether it's the uniparty government or it's just the government itself. We will jump over, hurdles and mountains and everything to go after Russia or China or whomever. If we think there might be some interference in our election, which isn't a bad thing necessarily, right? What is interference? Well, and what they said with like Russia, it's like, oh, well, they're sponsoring ads. Oh, or they're putting out stories that kind of, push some Russian narratives that may make them want to make us want to vote one way or the other, and, because it's going to be more beneficial to them at the end of the day. And I think about things like that, right? And I go, aren't we doing that? Don't we have political parties that basically control the entire mainstream media? Don't we have stories that are kept out of the press because it could be damning to a particular person running for office? So you guys know what I'm talking about. I didn't even have to say it. You already know because you're sharp. That's why you're here. But the media is running cover. The media is owned by them, or they do their bidding. Vivek Ramaswamy the other day went off on, I think it was CNN, or it may have been another one of those, corrupt networks, but basically it was saying it's your job to hold, our elected officials, the powers that be, hold them accountable, ask the questions, present these facts and what you find out to the people. Instead, they're running cover for them. They're protecting them. If they say jump, the media says how high, and they go out there and they tell us that we need to jump that high. And it's just, it is devastating to see where we are right now as far as all that goes. But again, why is that legal and okay? But then Russia or another country, putting out some stories or, sponsoring some ads or something like that. That's the big thing, and we're gonna spend millions of dollars going after them, and then we're gonna slap tariffs on them or sanctions or whatever it is. We're doing it ourselves, probably on the left and the right. I'm not gonna act like it's not both sides, but we saw Kamala putting out the her administration's got fake news out there about people that are backing her that aren't actually backing her. Don't know if you remember the story about what was it, the sponsored ads, but they made them look like they were legit media headlines speaking positively of her. I'm sorry, I can't think of any for Trump right this second. It's not that there aren't any or any for any conservative person. I'm not saying that, but these are the most obvious ones that jump off the top of my brain here. What about the quid pro quo between Biden and Ukraine? Back in the day, he says, you're not going to get the money, and if I don't get what I want, if you don't fire that guy who's investigating the company that my son is on the board of, which has no conflict of interest there, I'm sure. If you don't fire that DA or whatever, you're not getting the money that Obama promised you. And then, son of a bee, he fired him. So then I gave him the money. It's called a quid pro quo. That's what they, accused Trump of doing. Even though it was allegations of that, no proof of that, they still got him on impeachment for that. Biden did it on camera and nothing happened. Nothing. He bragged about the story and nothing happened to him. Obama sending all that cash to, was it Iran? And not being held accountable. That seems like something that we should know about. Again, with the current accusations from the Harris campaign putting out the stuff, groups backing on the football team, the image that was out there, which I heard some developments on that. Maybe somebody officially put it out there, but it wasn't approved or something. I don't know. But isn't all that kind of stuff election interference too? Both the act of doing those things and the act of the media covering it up or being an extension of that party, that administration, or that whoever, campaign. I think all of that is the same thing. So while I don't necessarily have a problem with them going after Russia or North Korea or China or whomever that may be trying to interfere with our elections, because to be fair, I don't think anybody should be interfering with our elections. Go get them. All right. But at the same time, when are we going to start holding our own people accountable? The answer is we're not. But we should. We absolutely should. What do you guys think? Do you think there is as much or maybe even more corruption, interference, manipulation within domestically, be it the political party, the mainstream media, special interest groups, or whatever? Do you think there's as much or more possibly here that fall into that category than there is from internationally, from foreign? I'd be willing to bet there's more, and we just accept it as the news.
Hey guys, thanks for checking out this clip from the Morning Mayhem. Remember, this is just a portion of the full show that comes out every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you hadn't already, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the full shows or these tasty little nuggets.